Now, let's take a look at the states which have the most cases, and Maharashtra is clearly the leader in that. More than 12,200, nearly 12,300 cases reported from Maharashtra alone. You can see there, then followed by Gujarat, Delhi, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan. But the other important figure is the states with the highest death rate, and this is a key figure because India's average is about 3.2%, and you can see there that Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Maharashtra, Karnataka, they all have high death rates, they're higher than the national average, MP in particular at 5.4%. And those who have the lowest death rates, those are states with 500 plus cases. That includes Delhi, by the way. So even though Delhi has a high number of cases and has seen a spike in the last few days, Delhi still has among the lowest death rates in the country, as does Jammu and Kashmir and Tamil Nadu as well. So that just gives you a sense of how the states are faring at the moment. But how are we all doing? That's the big question. I think many people had hoped that perhaps by now we would have seen a more flattened curve, which is what we were all talking about when the lockdown began. But what we are seeing is the number of cases, at least, is going up. So are we still to hit the peak? That's the question, and what could that peak be? Joining us, Dr. V.K. Paul, who is a member of the Niti Aayog and chairman of the Board of Governors of the Medical Council of India. Dr. Rajesh Malhotra is the chief of the COVID facility at the Trauma Center at the All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and Dr. S.K. Sareen is here with us. He's the chairman of the Delhi government's panel on COVID-19 as well. Dr. Sareen, let me go to you first. Can you sort of summarize for us what the situation is today, Dr. Sareen? Because, while the doubling rate has gone up, which is a good thing, the rate at which cases are doubling, is much longer. It was 3 days initially, now it's every 13 days or so. Why are we seeing such a spike in cases in the last few days?
Well, clearly it is the increase in the number of patients who are getting tested, and also that the government and the state has put extra efforts in increasing the testing capacities. But the fact that Delhi has one of the lowest death rates means that both the doctors and the leadership is very concerned about the deaths. And we have to understand that Delhi's here, most of the people are migrating from one place to the other. So we have to have containment. People are quite civilized here, but still the movement is on. 3-4 facts which can help Delhi further. One, that people understand and make sure that corona is going to stay for a long time. So therefore they have to be relaxed. They have to understand social distancing, and the norms have to be followed for a very long time. 2, infection doesn't mean everybody would die. People recover. So recovery is quite possible, and till the time vaccine comes, we have to maintain social distancing and in a way sort of lockdown kind of situation. It may be months, it may be years. Third, we have to develop a strategy of finding out what is the proportion of people who are actually developing immunity. And as I said some time ago, herd immunity is something which will prevent us, but herd immunity means 70 to 90% of the population gets a subclinical low grade infection. Until that time, we have, like measles, chickenpox, how do you prevent it? Because everybody else is protected with the vaccine. So the infected guy probably doesn't get infected with the virus. For corona, till the time we get that kind, and the population is vaccinated to a very large extent, which will be a challenge, we will have to maintain social distancing. And Delhi has learnt it in a kind of very civilized way. Now our singular aim is that nobody should die. We should have drugs, and I hope with Dr. Paul being there as one of the lead persons, we should get newer drugs entry. Indian pharma should develop newer drugs, and Delhi's preparedness is really good, both for COVID hospital, COVID care hospitals, and for mass tracking and screening.
Right. Well, Dr. Sareen, you said a couple of important things which I do want to ask you about in terms of what kind of social distancing and how our lives will change in the next few months. I'll ask you about that in just a moment, but I want to ask Dr. V.K. Paul, who, as you said, is the key person here today. Dr. Paul, when you look at the numbers today, how would you see the spike that we are seeing in the number of cases over the last few days, especially the last 2-3 days, as we are entering what should have been the end of the lockdown period? So are you concerned by this, or is this a natural sort of spike that is expected?
Nidhi, I'm not really concerned with this level of fluctuation. You should look at 3 days average or 5 days average to see the trend. And when you see the trend, you do notice that we have stabilized as of now a doubling rate of about 12 days. And that is fairly stable. And these fluctuations depend on how the cases are being reported from the ground. It may have something to do with increased testing, which has been augmented phenomenally well. And of course, please remember that the case is detected, case is confirmed, and then reporting happens. So I'm really not worried about these fluctuations. I think we are seeing a consistent decrease in the growth of the pandemic. We are seeing that doubling rates are consistently stable and continuing to improve. We are at about 12 days. I expect this to move to about 13 to even 14 by mid-May, until when the effect of the lockdown till today will continue to be manifesting. So I think we hope that this is how it will behave.
Dr. Paul, also on the issue of testing, now, are you also encouraged by the fact that, India still has comparatively, compared to a lot of other leading Western democracies, etc., a lower number of positives, people who, and of course the death rate compared to the rest of the world is still, comparatively much lower, for whatever reason?
Yes, it is a valid observation, because when we look at the size of the pandemic as far as India is concerned, when we look at the mortality rate, mortality is within the acceptable range, although when we do adjustment for age, it will look a little worse as not on the average, but still mortality rates are in the acceptable range. The size of pandemic as far as India is concerned is distinctly much smaller, and part of this has been due to the fact that the lockdown type of a very major social distancing effort to break the chain of transmission of the virus came up right on time. Yes, indeed, so far we are lucky, and we have to maintain these gains systematically. We had to be very prudent as we move forward. Thus far, India has been very prudent, very rational in taking decisions.
Obviously, we cannot be in an indefinite state of lockdown, and we can see the way the third version of the lockdown now is much more relaxed in many areas, even with all its problems, than the first two versions. So, would you say that we need to start easing off now, but with all the appropriate precautions that we will have to sort of maintain social distancing, whether it's on public transport, planes, restaurants, lower capacity? I mean, is that what you would advise going ahead?
You have said it very, very nicely. Yes, lockdown cannot go on interminably. Lockdowns are not needed where the infection rates are low, the zones are green. Lockdowns are not needed when we are making progress toward orange districts. We can go toward relaxation in a systematic way. It is a systematic process. It's a stepwise process, and it has underlying principle of maintaining social distancing, opening up, and yet being very, very cautious, very alert. The virus has not gone away. As we move in the direction of relaxation of restrictions, our health system has to be ready to cope up with increased infection rate should that happen. Our surveillance has to be ready should more places in India become focus of infection. Remember, in India, the epidemic is localized in urban areas. It happens in an unpredictable manner. It picks up the districts on its own. So we have to be vigilant across the country, but wherever we are doing well, it is time to de-escalate, but be ready as a nation, as a society, as a community, and our health system response has to be robust.
Dr. Rajesh Malhotra, the important point that both Dr. Paul and Dr. Sareen were making is that we shouldn't be alarmed. We should be worried but not alarmed, I suppose, by the fact that people are getting infected. I guess that's bound to happen. Most people do recover from this. So, sorry, apologies. But if you could put that into perspective for us, would you say that our healthcare system today is far better prepared? Are we genuinely better prepared today, than we were maybe 3 months ago?
Definitely. I think when it comes to responding to a pandemic, it is said that the speed trumps perfection. So the speed with which you enforce these measures really matters, because you see, if you let the pandemic go unchallenged, very soon you will be forced to shut down everything. So by shutting down everything or locking down previously, it gives us a lot of advantages. Like we have been able to, when it started, there was a shortage of PPE. Now that this has given us time to cope up with that shortage, our testing facilities have been ramped, our bed capacity, ICU beds, the oxygen availability, the ventilators, everything we have been able to ramp up because we got this time. Because I think the whole idea is that the medical facilities should not get overwhelmed by the large number of patients coming to the hospital, which the hospitals cannot manage. Not only will it spell doom for COVID patients, but for non-COVID patients as well, who will not just be able to get any treatment. So I think this has given us time. I'll give you another example, like things like, say, recirculating the N95 masks. So all these strategies which have evolved is because we had a time period during which we could respond and take the challenge and prepare ourselves better, so that at no point of time the number of cases, at least fortunately till now, have been able to overwhelm us.
I think that's very important. I want to ask Dr. Paul though, Dr. Paul, if you had to give, say, a couple of, and you would in the Niti Aayog, to give suggestions to how we can restart the economy with social distancing in place, if there was something specific that you would be recommending, if you could share with us. For instance, traveling by plane, would you recommend that the middle seat be empty? Would you recommend that there only be far fewer passengers on passenger trains when they start? Should restaurant capacity be at 1/3? These are just ideas that I'm throwing at you, sir. Are these some of the specific ways in which we could move forward until a vaccine is found?
These are surely the ways of ensuring social distancing as we move about in travel, as we move about working in offices, as we move about commuting, and as we move about in markets, for example. So what principle that we need to adhere to is that we maintain a certain amount of distance so that we make it difficult for the virus to travel from one to the other. And indeed, the guidelines would appear as we move on, whether we keep the middle seat vacant or we keep one person only in one part of the seats, and then the next person has to sit behind. All this will be done systematically, and when the time comes, this will be there. But already, as you know, we are talking about not more than 2 people other than the driver in a commuting car, for example. So, but it is clear that we must maintain distance from each other, physical distance, not emotional distance. And that makes the virus difficult to travel from one person to the other through the droplet route. And that's the core principle. Till, of course, we find a vaccine, and till, God willing, we find a medicine which can prevent and make me less susceptible from getting the virus from another person.
When will we hit our peak? When will we hit, in your assessment, the peak in the number of cases in India?
Well, it cannot be predicted for sure. Very difficult, even in mathematical models. But visualize the scenario as follows. When we have taken a very major measure of lockdown and social distancing has been ascertained effectively across the country, we have slowed the virus down, right? Now the future, beyond, let's say, 15th of May, future as we improve our relaxations would depend on how we behave as a society, how we behave and adhere to the rules of the game. It is all upon us now so that we beat the virus in such a way that it makes it difficult for this to travel from one to the other. So it is basically, it is our endeavor how systematically we maintain a post-lockdown life in such a way that we make it difficult. And it has been shown that yes, you can make it slow down. You can ensure growth rates of the virus replication which are low. So it is a test of our collective will and collective resolution and resolve and restraint as we move to the relaxed phase that has been now initiated. And this was much needed. This was needed. The time for this had come.